602-8886 or visit autumnleaves.com.
It's time for the Playmaker Spotlight with Executive Coach and Vistage Chair, Dick Smith.
Well, welcome once again to the Playmaker Spotlight, the part of Get Down to Business, where we speak to presidents, CEOs, business owners, and share their stories and best practices with you, our listeners. I am Dick Smith, your host. I'm the CEO business coach and an award-winning chair for Vistage International. I'm very pleased to have with us as our guest tonight, Scott LoSasso. He's founder and president of LoSasso Integrated Marketing. They're headquartered in Chicago, and from their website at LoSasso Integrated Marketing, creativity meets accountability. Marketing leadership is no longer based on the largest budgets or the flashiest creative we know. LoSasso Integrated Marketing wins battles in the trenches, integrating a full arsenal of creative and technical marketing talents to drive customer engagement, lead generation, and brand growth. Creativity, accountability, results. That's what LoSasso Integrated Marketing approach is to build your brand. So Scott leads the integrated marketing company with a constant focus on evolution and performance measurements. His background is in direct response advertising, and he was the architect of response branding, a process for building brands through programs that are dynamic, customer-centric, and measurable. Scott was the founding member of the LoSasso team in 1989. So again, welcome to the Playmaker Spotlight, Scott LoSasso.
Thanks for having me, Dick.
Hey, tell us a little bit about what inspired you. Our listeners like to hear about inspirations. How did a guy decide to start a company? Tell us that story.
Well, it was 25 years ago. I was 22. I needed a job. I was actually selling media at the time, and I really enjoyed marketing, but I didn't like the single solution that I had to offer. And no matter what somebody's problem was, I had one thing to sell.
Yeah, and that was radio spots.
Yeah,
right?
That was radio.
Well, we
actually
like that around here.
Yeah, radio's good.
You ever lose your company and come back to work here.
Appreciate that.
Hey, tell us about your areas of expertise. What's the big deal here about LoSasso Integrated Marketing?
Well, we've over the years, we've worked with clients in a lot of different industries. Right now, we have a strong base of business in a few categories that include manufacturing, agriculture, construction, outdoor, and education. So we have a fairly broad base of experience. The common thread, I guess, is that we really look for companies that are committed to evolution and sort of marketing leadership. There's just a lot of change in the industry, and we work well with clients that are committed to making sort of the change to modernize.
You want clients that are change agents. They're accepting the challenge of change in the marketplace and how to go to market differently.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Right, okay. So what distinguishes LoSasso Integrated Marketing from all the many competitors in B2B and B2C marketing?
Yeah, there are a lot of good agencies in Chicago, and we're certainly not the only agency that has really committed to, building a fully integrated team. But I think that, we've really focused on putting everything under one roof that you need to deliver modern marketing. And as a result, the mix of people that we have on staff and the talents and the capabilities is quite different than it was a few years ago. So just to kind of keep up with the change, you have to have people that are playing different roles than we did a few years ago.
So talk to me about what are some of those roles under one roof?
I mean, there's a lot of it is focused on digital marketing. There's web development. There's analytics, video and content development. Marketing today is just so cross-platform, multi-screen, and to really achieve integration, having one team working on that in one location helps us be a lot more nimble and responsive and effective, really.
Gotcha. Hey, if you're just tuning in, this is the Get Down to Business Playmaker Spotlight, brought to you in part by Vistage International, the world's largest CEO and business owner private advisory board organization. And we're talking to Scott LoSasso. He's founder and president of the LoSasso Integrated Marketing company in Chicago. So, Scott, we talked earlier in the lobby about comment about Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky was one of the finest hockey players of all times, and they say they interviewed him once, and they said, well, what makes you so different from others? He said, well, other hockey players go to where the puck is, and I go to where I think the puck is going to be, right? And more often than not, that's correct. Right. I sort of think that's sort of like your role, right? Isn't that? You're trying to look way out there in the distance as to where things are going?
Yeah, I mean, we cover a lot of conferences, and we try and pay attention to a lot of the changes in our industry. And, we sort of look at that as part of our role to help our clients see what's coming. And, we recognize that things change fast and nobody has all the answers, and they're not really supposed to have all the answers. But if you study it and you look at it and you conduct research and you invest in strategic planning, you're going to be ahead of your competition.
So I'm guessing you would say there's no one right mix for all companies. It's really dependent on where they're at in their space and competition and all that kind of stuff. So, so what are your issues that you face in strategic marketing, integrated marketing today, without spilling the candy for all your competitors who are listening to the show tonight? Yeah. Give us your secret sauce.
Yeah, no, we're pretty transparent about that stuff. I mean, I think that, our secret sauce is just recognizing that we have to do things differently than we used to, and it's a different approach to planning and allocating budgets. And we just find that if you don't sort of take a zero-based approach and say, okay, how should we approach things? How would we approach things if we were new to the industry or new to the category? The problem is, or one of the common problems is that we find year over year clients go through their planning process and they base next year's budget on last year's budget.
Sure.
And the challenge there is that with all of the change in the industry, some of the most important things are the last to get funded.
Yeah. So, you want clients, I assume, that aren't looking at marketing as an expense, but rather an investment, right? Is that fair?
Yeah. I mean, I think that everybody seems to be under the pressure to demonstrate return on investment, right? Sure. I mean, we're constantly, it's sort of an evergreen request to do more with less or the same, and demonstrate. And to really demonstrate the effectiveness, you have to invest in things like tracking and measurement and analytics and things that people aren't, historically they haven't spent money on.
Yeah. Who is a famous marketing executive that says, I know 50% of my marketing budget's working, I just don't know which 50%.
I believe that was Wanamaker.
Oh, that's right. Right. Hey, tell us a little bit about your typical customer profile. I assume you want customers that want to put their marketing budget in your very capable hands. You're in good hands with LoSasso.
Yeah, I mean, we typically work with larger companies, so we're a smaller agency. We have 38 people, so we're not too small, but we're not too big. But we typically work with larger companies, and I think that we do well with companies that want an agency as a partner and are willing to work transparently. We have clients that have very lean teams, and we have clients with large teams. Yep. And the challenge is to really work in a collaborative way and figure out, okay, the talents on both sides have to come together as a team, and we have to tackle sort of the issues of the day.
That's a little bit of your best customer profile looks like that, right? Anything else about a customer? Are you better with mid-sized companies versus Fortune 500? Are you across?
Well, we've been successful with both. I think that the key is finding people that where you have sort of aligned thinking. People that are committed to sort of marketing leadership and working collaboratively.
Gotcha. How important is your culture at your firm? How important is it to your success, your people?
Well, we actually focus a lot on culture. We have quarterly, what we call vision and culture meetings. We're pretty transparent with our finances and revenues and expectations.
Are you sort of open book?
Yeah, we are.
Really? Great. Is that unusual?
Yeah. We just find that the more people know about the business that we're in, the better they're able to do their job. And so I'd say our culture is casual but hardworking. We have a lot of different types of people. We have dogs running around. And
I like it. I like it. So give me your vision for 3 to 5 years from now as we're starting to run out of time here.
That's okay. Well, I think that we're going to continue to do the things that we do to try and bring integration from in all ways, really. I mean, communication is very much about communicating transparently with your customers and serving them content and information and marketing in their preferred environments. So, mobile's a big influence on where people need to be thinking. And, we've had a history of steady growth, long-term relationships. And I'm not a person that, wants growth for the sake of growth. We just want to find, like-minded clients and continue to build our success story, make it another 25 years.
Well, I'm afraid we're just about out of time, but I want to thank Scott LoSasso, president and founder of LoSasso Integrated Marketing, for being with us today. Scott, you and your team have a wonderful success story already, and you epitomize the entrepreneurial spirit, a guy at 22 starting this business, right?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of help, and I still do. So. And
your website is www.LoSasso.com.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, www.LoSasso.com. That's how folks should get a hold of you. Thanks again, Scott, for being with us, and I'd like to thank our listeners for tuning in to the Playmaker Spotlight with me, your host, Dick Smith. You can reach me on LinkedIn or at dick.smith@vistagechair.com. And now back to Get Down to Business with my buddy Shalom Klein.